Hello, golfers. Welcome back to JD Golf TV. I'm John Dunigan, your guide toward pursuing golf excellence. Today, we're going to have another analysis of a pro swing, and it's going to be Brooks Koepka. The man's built to fade, and he's built for the biggest stages. And he's got a great swing. I'm going to show you how it works. Let's get after it. Okay, we have a Trackman readout up here, and it's quite impressive. Here is Brooks. Let's see if there's any kind of ball flight kind of stuff. Yeah, it's 121 miles an hour, does hit almost 4 down, and 300 yards of carry. See if there's any wind. Okay, 302 of carry, 323 total, not sucky. Okay, now this shot here was a slight baby draw, barely. And I thought I would show you what's going on. We're going to look at a couple things. Let's start from how he stands at the golf ball. We'll take this view from down the line first, and his lines are pretty good. They're a little left of target. Well, he's hitting, trying to hit a fade. And in this case, you can see from the Trackman readout, the club face was just a hair left of the path. So actually, this one did go left. Maybe he was trying to hit a draw. Nonetheless, let's take a look at the action. There's one thing that I'm a little bit... I'm not too comfortable with. The shoulders are way outside of his toes. So he gets heavily on his toes, and we will talk about that later. I think it has something to do with his knee problems. From the face-on view, we've got the ball position well forward in the stance. Guess what? Remember the law of the circle, that helps the path work more leftward. Ball more back in the stance, path will be more rightward. More forward in the stance, path will be more leftward. It's the law of the circle. Interestingly, he has his right hand turned quite strong, meaning it is turned to the right. When we look at that sucker, that right hand is what we call the V between the thumb and index finger, is going well outside his right shoulder. That's a closing the face type of grip, which incidentally is a wonderful thing for a fader who's trying to get the golf ball to start left. Now, if you've seen the video on making sense of the nonsense, that's a really big deal. Please check that out. He's got what I would call a neutral left hand grip, 2 knuckles showing. That's his grip, built to help him start the ball left. Now, other things that address are just beautiful. He's very, very centered. Doesn't have a ton of spine tilt. If you look from his notch in his throat down to his belt buckle, not a ton of spine tilt. It looks very even to me. Just a little forward toward his toes. Okay, let's start with the takeaway. What's interesting about the takeaway? Whoa, wait a minute. There's another guy shifting, or what I would call stepping in to his back foot. Let's draw a quick little line here and see just what he did there. He's stepping into his trail foot. Isn't that interesting? Notice his left hip come away from that red line right away. And that's moving a good couple inches right there. Isn't that something? His right hip moves outside the line. 2 inches, most likely, at least. Okay, so he steps into the backswing, kind of loads the trail leg, if you will. I like to call it stepping on the gas. Maybe his lead foot is helping to push him this way. And something else that's really interesting. I want you to watch the grip end versus the head end as he does his little thing there. Do you see that? His club head moves last. It lags behind the rest of his very much one-piece takeaway. Isn't that interesting? It's called a lagging clubhead takeaway. And as far as I know, Bob Jones had the same move, and he didn't suck at golf either. Okay. Does take it back very much in one piece with a very strong loading into the trail leg. You can see the knee flex, and starts to set the club late in the backswing compared to some people. He does get quite a windup. Now, we got to take a look at this. I'm going to stop here at the club top of the backswing. Okay. he does get turned, maybe not quite 90 degrees, but he gets turned maybe just about 90 degrees. Not a ton of turn. He's not a very rotary type of player. Doesn't suck at golf, though. But he's not rotary, even for a fader. Interesting. Club face looks up to the sky. We would normally call that closed. And the back of his left hand looks up to the sky. Hey, they're very related, aren't they? That little logo on your glove is terribly much similar to the club face angle at the top. That's the top of the backswing. However, the real top of the backswing is right about here. Before he gets to the top, just like our Rory McIlroy video, move that I love, he starts to shift toward the target. And if you take a look at it, if I put another, I'm not a real big line drawer when I teach, but I just think for this purpose, it's pretty illustrative. He leans into it. He really shifts. And if you look at that, he's moving toward the target without turning early. I know that goes against what you normally say here, but once again, there's pretty much good evidence of that move. So he's kind of stepping into the left leg. There goes the left knee. He's basically creating an earthquake under that left foot right there. Isn't that cool? And watch this. It's before the club finishes the backswing. Love that. That's like the pitcher, baseball pitcher, stepping toward the batter during the delivery. Right? He steps in first, and the arm moves late. Same sort of thing. Okay? That's a big move. Copy that one. Shift into that golf ball, folks. It'll help you in golf. I know you're hearing that this is not a good move. Well, we just saw Rory. Now we see Brooks Koepka. They don't suck. They're shifting. So maybe it's not a bad thing. Now, what's he do with his golf club? He has this shifting move. And interestingly, he does not force the golf club nearly as far away from him, back away from the target, as does Rory McIlroy. He's got more of a pull down, right? He's pulling a little bit more downward and a little bit of backward. Rory was pushing the club back up and away from him and behind him and away from the target, getting the club inside. Brooks doesn't quite do that. And as evidence, he's kind of pulling away and down along the grip. The club shaft stays very close. This would be very much different from, for instance, the complete opposite, who would be Justin Thomas. So he's got more of a linear pull away and some down right here in the downswing. And very interestingly, as he does so, he's got his left arm is real close to his right shoulder. He's kind of got some pinning there of this armpit. And now his right arm's going to pull the club. He's pulling on the grip of the club, folks. He's pulling now toward the target. And you can see how much the right arm comes in close. Now, folks, this is a move that you could copy a piece of it. Okay? It wouldn't be a bad thing, especially if you're trying to create some lag. Now, too much lag, bad thing. Some lag, good thing. In this case, Brooks creates a tremendous amount of lag. He just keeps pulling along the grip, maybe the longest that I have seen thus far on tour. He's still pulling the thing. And in fact, by this point here, he starts to actually pull the grip upward. Isn't that cool? That's some swing. Only problem is he's got so much handle lean in front of this golf ball. If you don't have 121 miles an hour, you may not get this golf ball airborne. If you had my 103 mile an hour golf swing, you'd be hitting basically a belt high golf shot that hits the ground out there about 100 yards. So this is not for everybody. You can see as further evidence of the pull, the left arm's coming away from the body. Wonder if that guy throws left-handed. A little like Spieth. But wait, there's more. Here's a move I want you to copy. I want you to step into it like Brooksy right here. That's a thing of beauty right there. And then here comes the earthquake under the left foot, and there's one under the right foot. Watch him get up. That is step into it and jump up. And boy, he's not turned anywhere nearly as much as you'd see somebody normally. Isn't that interesting? Well, you can see how much that right arm is still in. That's really cool. And there's the throw. So he's kind of pulling, throwing. Yeah, my arm looks just like that, just so you know. Yeah, not. Okay, not very rotary. Now, he's got a closed face grip. Again, face on view. Closed face at the top of the backswing somewhat, but it fits in. This amount of handle pull is one of the ways, or maybe the closed face evolved because he's got this much handle pull, and if he did this with a more neutral grip, neutral club face at the top, he'd hit it right of the universe. It would start right and then slice. That's a great shot. I know you've never hit that one. No, in fact, this, we don't know which came first, chicken or the egg, but this handle lean needs a closed club face. Now, there's another way to square up a really closed club face like Dustin Johnson. He does it by rotating. If we switch over to this view over here on the left-hand side, you can see a lot of space in between Dustin Johnson's legs, and his torso is turned way out toward the target in this position. Not that impact of position. At this location in the swing, at this time in the swing, there are no positions except address and the finish. So don't get caught up in positions. But I'm saying if you have a closed club face, you better be able to rotate like hell or have that forward shaft lean and shift toward the target. Otherwise, the club face is going to come in way too closed. Does that make sense? I hope that does. It's really, really important that you understand that, because I know you're out there looking at pro swings and looking for stuff to copy, and it's not all good to copy. Okay, so we talked about the shift. We talked about the big-time jump. We talked about pushing, pulling along the club shaft. I better show you another video right here, another picture right here. Well, folks, look at how far he is past that original left hip line, and that's a driver. He might even go farther forward for an iron because you get paid to hit down on your irons. Isn't that something? There he was back here, and at the finish, he's all the way down the fairway. Love this. Now, I wanted to go back and tell you about his toes. He gets very much up on his toes right here. Oh, his foot did turn out. Oh, I like that. See his left foot turn out? That's a really big deal. In fact, I'd probably give him more foot flare. And on his iron that I have, maybe I'll show you that in a second, his left foot stays on the toes longer. And I wonder if that can put a lot of stress on the ankle and knee. That's all I think about that. That's all I see in there. As far as something that could go in a golf swing that might potentially hurt somebody, let's go real quick into the iron swing. Okay, just a quick look. Watch his left foot now. He's on his toes. We know his weight was already out over his toes at address. We like to see, if we had our way, which we don't because I don't even know this guy, we wouldn't mind seeing that line right there be closer to touching those toes. So he's already kind of top heavy, and he's a pretty big dude as it is. But over here on the right-hand side now. So he's on his toes. And he doesn't get off his toes till very, very late. And if you see that right there, you're going to see most of the pros be like this with that foot by impact. Okay? And getting into the heel lets you rotate more easily. But having the foot able to rotate a little bit, having the foot flared out more, having the weight move to the heel, actually takes away a little bit of restriction in the motion between the ankle and knee. That's all I wanted to say about that. Now let's take a look at the down the line view, because such a good golf swing. Wait a minute. Takes a club. It's super shut. Good God, from this view it looks incredibly shut, doesn't it? Yeah, but folks, is it really shut? Or is it a case of, hey, when I do this, my ball flies well? Probably that. Plus, folks, he's trying to hit a little fade maybe. And close club face, best way to hit a fade. Gets the golf club very vertical. You might call it steep. I'd call it vertical. Takes it to the top of the backswing, and it's lovely. Don't worry about the curve of this left arm. Okay, that's not the key move there. The key move is that the club face is facing the sky, so is the back of that left hand. Okay, his club is very much close to parallel to the target line at the top. Not a big deal, but the way that he moves the golf club, it could be really important. It's different from his iron swing, by the way. Now, what he does is have this little bit of rotation in the club shaft. He rotates the club shaft flatter. He does that with his both arms are rotating. This left arm is rotating around this way in a counterclockwise from our view fashion. The right arm is doing the same sort of thing. Isn't that interesting? Now, folks, I'm going to tell you right now, you might hear some stuff in the world. That move is being done by his arms. That body is not doing that. Any body rotation right there, whatever it is not making that club go that way. That's a move he probably, maybe, doesn't even know he does. But he does it, and it's a real good one. So that gets the golf club what we call flat early in the downswing. That's a thing that I love. We hate steep early in transition, and we hate real flat late in as it comes into the impact, because those are very, very, very difficult to play golf with. This is a case of steep early. So now he just basically took the club shaft and tilted it over flatter. Got me? That's first. Now the shift happened already. There was a tilt of the club shaft flatter. Okay? Rotated his logo of his left hand up toward the sky a hair more than it was at the top of the backswing. Now, from here, oh, come on, Dunigan, behave yourself. I want you to watch. He's going to pull downward nearly vertically on this golf club. Watch the butt of the club. It's going almost straight down. And that gets the golf club to stand back up again so it doesn't get too far behind him. Sergio Garcia does the same move. Dan Berger, same move. It's a great move for hitting a fade. Club face is pre-squared because of the grip and the wrist. It's a beautiful thing. Wide open right here can work. You have to time it a whole lot better. Now that's as normal as we could ask for. We call that on plane, although people don't know airplane from swing plane. And here he goes. Beginning to the throw is back here, and throwing like hell is out there. Man, that's good. All right, his golf club went from, let me get rid of a couple of, well, I'll leave them here. Golf club went right down that white target line and right back around inside. That's really cool. No swinging out to the right. By the way, you come into the ball from the inside or not, but you don't swing out to the right. That's a great way to hit a shank, folks. Okay, a thing to copy here. Get that club shaft. Rotate that logo up to the sky in transition. And get that club to flatten out early. That will absolutely help your game. Boy, another thing. I don't know about you, but I'm 55 years old, and this rotation looks a whole lot more doable for me than Dustin Johnson's rotation. I don't care how hard I tried it in here in the studio. Can't do it. Just can't rotate like him. Hell of a golf swing, folks. One hell of a golf swing. Okay, you got some ideas you might want to incorporate into your game. Some you might not. Get after it.